This is lesson 1.2, solving quadratics by factoring. In the last video, we went over how to factor, and now we're going to talk about how to solve these quadratics once we factored it. So we're going to move all the terms on one side and set the equation equal to 0. Then we're going to factor the equation. Then we're going to set each factor equal to 0 and solve for x. Finally, we're going to write our answer as the solution set. So let's practice. For example number 1, the equation is already set up equal to 0. And if we remember our factoring steps, we're going to take out the greatest common factor, so that's going to be x. We're going to leave it outside the parentheses and have x plus 9 equals 0. Now the next step is to set each factor equal to 0 and solve for x. So this one is just going to be 0, and x plus 9 equals to 0. When we solve, x equals negative 9. Because remember, we have to move this one to this side, and by algebraic manipulation, we have to use the inverse function. So x plus 9 equals 0, subtracts both sides by 9, x equals negative 9. Finally, we're going to write our answer as a solution set, x equals, and for convenience, let's go in the order of least to greatest value. These are the two solutions for this equation here. And we'll try with another example following the same steps. So we're going to factor out our greatest common factors, which is going to be 4x. When we take 4x out of the first term, we're left with x, and 4x out of the second term, we're left with 2. If you're confused about any of this, I recommend going to the previous video to review factoring. Now 4x equals to 0, and x minus 2 equals 0. We know that 0 divided by 4 is just 0. And x minus 2 equals 0 is going to give us x of 2. Final answer will be 0, 2. Now those are the two solutions for example 2. Now for example 3, when we have 3 terms, we're going to factor like normal with 2 sets of parentheses. We're going to write our x on both sides. Now we have to factor minus 7 and minus 3. Now we can set each of these equal to 0. Add 7 on both sides. X equals 7. Add 3 on both sides. X equals 3. So x equals 3 and 7. Now for example number 4, this one's a bit more complicated because this side doesn't already equal 0. However, we can move them over to the other side of the equation and make it equal to 0. We need to combine like terms, so this term and these two are the same. So we're going to add 3x to both sides, which is going to cancel out this 3x, and it's going to add it to 41x, resulting in 44x. Now we have 2 and 98. These are also like terms, so we're going to subtract 2 on both sides. Leaving us with 96 equals to 0. Now we have a standard trinomial that we can factor as usual. So we're going to take out our greatest common factor. 4 can be removed from all of these here. So we have 4 x to the power of 2 plus 11x plus 24 equals 0. Now for this term here, 4 can't equal 0, so we don't include it. Now we can factor this base as normal with two sets of parentheses, x on one side, and when we factor we get x plus 3 and x plus 8 equals 0. Setting each equal to 0, subtract 3 on both sides, x equals negative 3, subtract 8 on both sides, x equals negative 8. So these are our two solutions for example 4.